Hey guys, welcome to Rosie's Dessert Spot. In this tutorial, we'll be making a fun 3-tier gift box style Christmas cake using mostly buttercream. You'll need an 8-inch, 6-inch and 4-inch cake. I've already stacked and crumb coated all of my cakes. On I go now with a final layer of buttercream. I've chosen red and green for this and I coloured my buttercream using gel food colours. If you'd like the recipe for this super smooth frosting, I'll have it linked in the description box below and in the eye icon up top. Once your cake is completely covered, smooth it out with your frosting scraper, fill in any pockets as you go. And then take either your frosting scraper or even your spatula and run it along the edge of the cake, pulling that lip towards the center. Once you're happy with the finish, let your cakes set in the fridge for about 20 minutes to half an hour or until the frosting is nice and firm. Do the same with your 6-inch, only this time create a second color of frosting. I've chosen to go green to keep it within the Christmas theme. The gel food colors that I like to use are either Chef Master or AmeriColor. Queen works as well. I just find that you need a little bit more of the Queen to get that rich color. Let these all set in the fridge until the frosting is nice and solid and hard to the touch, and then drape over your stencil. I like to apply my buttercream right in the middle with yellow buttercream here. And the reason I've chosen yellow is because I'm going to dust over it with gold. It's a good idea to give your buttercream the same color as your gold dust or any other luster dust that you might use, just in case you can see through it. It'll be camouflage. Fill in all the spaces and then smooth it out with a frosting scraper or even your spatula. And when it's nice and uniform, take a huge blush brush, dip it into your edible luster dusts and pounce it all over your buttercream. When it's all nice and covered, take one end and gently peel it off, keeping it nice and taut against itself as you pull off. Clear up any spaces at the top, just kind of cutting it off with your spatula. And then line it up where you left off and repeat. Some people like to use pins and putting pins at the edges of your little stencil so that it sticks to the cake nice and close. I don't really like using the pins. I feel like you can mess up the frosting pretty easily, so I just start in the middle and work my way left to right, holding the stencil down with my hand. If your buttercream starts to soften out a little bit, pop it back into the fridge to set and then continue with your next row. You can usually tell that it's starting to soften out if you're pulling away and it's leaving a bit of a pull mark on your buttercream, or if your colors are bleeding through. So you might be applying yellow over the top, but you might be seeing some red coming undone. That means your frosting needs to be placed, or your cake needs to be placed back in the fridge. Doing the same again for my 4-inch and my 6-inch as well. These stencils I believe are found on eBay for real cheap. They were a pack of 3 and all 3 of them had a different design on there. So very, very affordable and very easy to apply as well. We have our very last cake now, the 6-inch, and I think the gold looks best against this green. It just looked amazing. Pop your 6-inch and your 4-inch now into the freezer for about 10 to 15 minutes. And in the meantime, apply bubble tea straws or paper straws or wooden dowels, whichever you prefer, cut flush with the very top of the cake. I've added about 5 or so in my bottom tier and then another 4 in my middle green tier. Now that my cakes are nice and firm from the freezer, I can stick them together with a little bit of buttercream. The reason we add in the straws is so that they hold up the weight of the cake. Without them, the weight would collapse into the bottom tier and your whole cake would be ruined. You can pop those cakes in the fridge and then work with your fondant in the meantime. I've rolled out a nice long roll of red fondant and then cutting it down to size just to clear up the sides of the ribbon as well, make it nice and neat and sharp. And when you're ready, roll it into a little log and then apply it onto your cake with a little bit of water. I actually made mine even shorter again. I felt that it was covering too much of my stenciled pattern. So make it as thick as you want. And then apply it to your cake with just a touch of water. Use a fondant smoother to smooth it out and make sure it's on there nice and neat. And repeat again. I created this because it gives it that faux lid effect and it makes it look like there is a lid on your little gift box. You could cover the whole cake in fondant and then use fondant instead. Totally up to you. I just thought this would be a lot easier for most people, as fondant sometimes can be a little bit daunting. Start applying this little ribbon at the same spot on each cake. That way the seam is hidden all at the back. Apply water traveling up the sides of the cake. If you want to, you could cover your little seam this way and just apply a gold band of fondant all the way down, starting from the top. Cut off the excess, and again, your cake could be seamless if you covered that little ribbon starting point. Add one slightly off to the other side. Use a fondant smoother to make sure it's nice and flat and neat on there, and create your super large bow. To do that, use the same colored fondant, roll it out to about 3 or so millimeters in thickness. You want it to be able to stand up on its own, so I'm leaving it a little bit more on the thicker side. Cut it down to a rectangle and then cut your rectangle in half again. Fold it and create an M shape at the end. Give it a bit of a pinch, do the same for your other side, and then kiss the two together with a little bit of water so that they stick together. You want to hide that seam, so cut out another little rectangle of fondant, lay it over the top, turn it over, and stick it together again with just a little bit of water. You'll want this to dry for about 20 minutes, but you want it to dry standing, so kind of tuck your fingers into that loop, open it up, and make sure that it stays standing while it dries. For the arms, I wanted them to be nice and long so that it kind of reached down the first tier. Fold an M shape at the end and then cut an inward pointing triangle on the other end. Repeat again with another long strand and apply to your cake with a little bit of water behind it. And rather than just laying it flat, I thought I would curl the top bit and just give it a bit of life. On goes your bow at the very top, and you could technically color this again with some edible gold luster dust and vodka for paint or lemon juice. And there you have it, your 3-tier Christmas gift box cake is complete. I promise you guys, it's a lot easier than it looks, and if you only want to do a 1-tier, this will look just as beautiful in a 1-tier form. If you guys do give it a go, hashtag Rosie's Dessert Spot so I can see your awesome creation as well. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.